Porter Williams.
Chair. Mr Chair, I want to speak to Clause 8, particularly that it introduces Part 5A, which is about social housing reform, the Social Housing Reform Programme. And I want to refer to the regulatory impact statement, where it actually sets out the Housing Reform Programme. And I just want to quote from it and make some comments about this, because it is very relevant that the government has set itself some standards by which they want this bill measured and the work measured against it. And I want to make some comment on that. So the Social Housing Reform Programme intends to improve the lives of vulnerable New Zealanders by getting them into housing which meets their needs for the duration of that need. That's an interesting statement, except for the fact that we have reviewable tenancies, which the government will then determine that they may not need a particular house and will put them into the private tenancy market. In December 2014, the government agreed a set of objectives for the state social housing reform programme. The first one is to ensure that people who need housing support can access it and receive social services that meet their needs. And that's a great objective. In Christchurch East, Mr Chairman, I would say, you could say we are frequent flyers of housing, accessing housing for our constituency. We have a great relationship with our Housing New Zealand partners, so much so that we are in daily contact with Housing New Zealand Corporation. So we have a real understanding of what our community needs and the partnership that we have out into the community for those providers, including Housing New Zealand. One of our, I guess one of the things that we have found most troubling was when the assessment function for social housing moved from Housing New Zealand to the Ministry of Social Development. Now, we understood the logic that sat behind that, because you are talking about a similar cohort of people accessing both the provision of services from the Ministry of Social Development and Housing New Zealand. So we could understand that. However, in the intervening year or so, year and a half, or nearly 2 years since that transfer of assessment function has occurred, I cannot see demonstrated an improvement in accessibility of housing for vulnerable people. I don't believe it has achieved what it was supposed to have achieved. So in terms of the first objective around accessing services, housing support that meets their needs, I think there's been a failure already. And we haven't even gone through the process of selling off the houses to private providers. The second objective, as discussed in this Cabinet objectives, is to ensure that social housing is of the right size and configuration and in the right areas for the households that need it. I have yet to see the government actually build the houses that are needed for the population of most need. Now, it's well known that the types of houses that we need are single bedroom, 2 bedroom and 4 bedroom and more. Those are the configurations that are needed for our social housing tenants. While there are lots of 2 bedroom homes being built, particularly in Christchurch, in response to the extra need that's there, we have yet to do anything about the most needy of our housing tenants, that are single men. Generally speaking, they are men who are difficult to house because they come with their own set of issues, usually mental health concerns, drug and alcohol dependencies. I have not seen that population group have their needs met. And it is not likely to happen under a private arrangement I can't, they are not a population, Mr Chairman. Mr Chairman.
Carmel Cipollone.
Chair, I am looking at part